1920. And it was very recently restored, 2019. It was sent back to Japan to have a new gold leaf laid on it, and came back quite beautiful.
I don't know.
This is the entrance to our multi-purpose hall. It was built in 1995, and we have a large kitchen and gymnasium. It's home to our Kendo club. We're quite proud of them because over the years they have won many tournaments all over the country, and they have sent people to Japan to compete in a tournament there as well. Of course, it's the gym is quite useful for large events such as the Obon. This is the photograph of Bell Tower and Bonsho. As mentioned earlier, it was built in 1934 with considerable fanfare. We have newsreel footage from that period that was probably shown perhaps all over the country in the news movie theater at the time. So this the bell tower is really the sort of like an iconic symbol of our temple. Some of the activities that we hold at the Salinas Buddhist Temple. Please keep in mind that because the COVID, much of these activities have been shut down for quite some time. Only recently, some of them have started again. So we're home to the Salinas Kendo Club. We're quite active, and they're active at this moment. We host event for Chadora Senke Monterey Tankokai. It's a tea ceremony group. This has been shut down for over a year. Salinas Bonsai Club holds their monthly meeting and conducts demonstration at Obon and other events. They have resumed some of their activity. We also have line dance, Kayo Club, calligraphy, and craft classes. Out of this, the line dance and Kayo Club.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience while we were moving everyone through the waiting room and getting you renamed according to your assignment. I think at this time I will turn the program over to our committee chair and the Coast District ministers.
Bill, are you there? Okay.
We want to I have to do a welcome message later, but we want to thank you for all showing up here this morning. I especially want to thank first the temples for sending the videos in, and then Peter Hester for linking these all together so you guys had something to look at for the last half hour. Thank you again, Peter. Great job, and a great job by the temples. I mean, you got virtual tours of every temple on the Coast District without ever leaving your comfort of your couch at home. We're going to start the program now, and I want to introduce Mr. Ken Tanimoto, who will be the chairperson of the morning service. So Ken, please, would you take it away? You're out there.
Okay, yes, I'm here, Bill. Can you hear me? Thank you, Bill. Yeah. So on behalf of the Wurtenberg Buddhist Temple, who's hosting this conference, as well as the Coast District Council, conference. It's a welcoming thought to hear and to see the sounds of the beautiful rain we're having today, but more importantly, and more comfortably, to hear the sounds and the words of the Dharma today. I want to thank Bill Wurtenberg, the chairperson, as well as their committee, and to Reverend Jason Seki for their efforts and their guidance and spending many, many hours on this conference to present this event for you. So without further ado, I'd like to begin with knowing everybody knows the schedule of the conference. So we'll start with the Kansho, the opening reading by Michael Jones, who is a minister assistant from the San Jose Temple, followed by San Bujo and the Jusege, and then following that, we'll have a message by Bill. So we'll start with the Kansho, and then with the reading by Mr. Michael Jones.
Please join me in Gassho. Yogemon. Moromoro no zōgyō zashu. Jiriki no kokoro o furi sutete. Ishin ni amida nyorai. Warera kondo no ichidaiji no gosho. Ontosuke sodai to tanomi moshite soro. Tanomu ichinen no toki. Ojo, ichijo, ontosuke jijo to zonji. Kono ue no shomyo wa gon hosha to zonji. Yorokobi moshi soro. Kono onkotowari chomon moshiwaki soro koto. Gokaisan shonin goshuse no gon. Shidai sojo no zanjishiki no. Asakara zaru gokanke no gon to. Arigataku zonji soro. Kone ue wa sarame osake raruru on okite. Ichigo o kagiri. Mamori mo subeku soro. We rely upon Amida Buddha with our whole heart for the enlightenment in the life to come. abstaining from all sundry practices and teachings, and giving up the trust in our imperfect view. There is no doubt that the assurance of enlightenment comes at the very moment we entrust, and we recite the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, in joy and gratitude for the Buddha's compassion. We also acknowledge gratefully the benign benevolence of our founder and succeeding masters who have led us to live in this profound teaching, and we do now endeavor to follow throughout our lives the way laid down for us. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.
Good morning, everybody, again. I was so impressed and thrilled that we could listen to the Sutra chantings in 5 different temples, 6 different ministers, and they're all in perfect 3-part harmony and synchronized. And we have to thank the ministers for producing the videos, and a big thanks to John Arima, who pieced it together so that they're all in sync. Today's conference, the Nembutsu Fem conference today, the theme is Kansho, or gratitude. And we have different breakout rooms that you'll be experiencing pretty soon, where every minister and minister assistant would be talking about gratitude. And I'm not going to talk about that right now, because you'll be between our guest speakers in the rooms, you'll be definitely feeling gratitude by the end of the day. But I'd like to, on behalf of the Coast District Temples, the Coast District Council, and the Watsonville Buddhist Temple, I would like to express my deepest gratitude for all of you for attending today's virtual Nembutsu family conference. I would like to welcome also Reverend Marvin Harada, who will be giving us a message here in a few minutes, and also Reverend Harry Bridge, who will be our guest note speaker today. We have a very exciting program, and I don't want to spend a lot of time. I'd like to get started. Let's continue on with our service. I'd like to again thank you all for attending. And I now would like to introduce Reverend Jay Shinseki, who's the resident minister of Watsonville Buddhist Temple, the Monterey Buddhist Temple, and the Buddhist Temple of Salinas. So, Reverend Shinseki.
Thank you, Bill, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending today. I'm going to just take one quick minute to introduce the Bishop of the Buddhist Churches of America, Reverend Marvin Harada, who is here with us today, and I want to thank him for taking time from his busy schedule. Reverend Harada is the 15th Bishop of or Socho of the Buddhist Churches of America. And Reverend Harada was born in Ontario, Oregon, where he attended the Idaho, Oregon Buddhist Temple as a youth, and then went to I think it was University of Oregon, where he graduated, then Institute of Buddhist Studies, and then Dukoku University in Kyoto, Japan, where he received his master's degree. Reverend Harada began his career at the Orange County Buddhist Temple, and I'm guessing, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was 1984 or 85, somewhere around there. So a long time ago. But he spent his entire career at the Orange County Buddhist Temple, and in 2020, April, he became the 15th Bishop of the Buddhist Churches of America. So it's my honor to introduce to you Reverend Harada for some welcoming messages.
Morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Reverend Jay, for your kind introduction. First of all, I'd like to commend all of you for holding this family conference, holding our major district events despite the pandemic. It'd be very easy to say, well, because of the pandemic, let's just cancel it this year. But the fact that you're holding it virtually and continuing our district traditions, I think it's quite commendable. And I'd like to thank especially the Watsonville Buddhist Temple for being our host for this year's conference. You know, this pandemic has taught us a lot about gratitude, hasn't it? So many everyday things that we took for granted, just going to the store, eating at a restaurant, going to the movies, young people playing your high school sports, marching band, getting together with the families for holiday gatherings. all of those things that we couldn't do for this past year and a half, we have come to deeply appreciate in a profound way. So as we gradually reopen, it's so joyous to be able to do some of those things again. In July, I was a speaker at OCBC for their Obon service. It was their first in-person service in months, and limited to a smaller number of people. But I said to everyone, this is better than going to Disneyland. Just being in this hondo together and seeing everyone. So we look forward to that day once again. I'd like to just share one poem by Saichi the Myokonin. He says very simply, I'm grateful. Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu. Saichi's gratitude to me is not for being able to meet at a restaurant. It's not for being able to eat a bowl of rice. Saichi's gratitude is for having received the heart of the Buddha in his own heart and mind as Namu Amida Butsu. I hope that all of us can come to receive that level of gratitude or kansha in our life, expressed as Namu Amida Butsu. Have a wonderful conference today. It's a pleasure and honor to be a part of it today. Thank you very much. Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu.
When life is fair and sunlight gilds the day, when fortune smiles and flowers adorn our way, oft let us pause with grateful hearts to say, darkened sky, and to our loved ones pain and death draw nigh, our tears may flow, yet trustingly we cry, Namo Amida Butsu.
Reverend Shinseki, would you?
I don't think he is, because his website is fantastic. He pulls from all these different Japanese dictionaries, right? And so you get a bunch of different meanings when you look at his, but I thought, I better look at another dictionary, right? And so I went to another online dictionary called gu.ne.jp. I don't know why it's called gu. I think that probably means something different in Japanese. But anyway, I typed in kansha, and here's what it came out with. It's similar, but one extra word: appreciation, gratitude, thanks. So remember, Jim Breen was thanks, gratitude. This one is appreciation, gratitude, and thanks. Now, I really like this word appreciation. It's another way maybe to understand gratitude. So one place that we can see that in a Buddhist sense is one of my teachers, Reverend Dr. David Matsumoto. When he was a minister in the Bay District. I'm speaking to you today from the rainy Bay District in Oakland, California. And he was at the Berkeley Temple. And this is before I came to the district. They did a FDSTL conference, right? The Dharma School Teachers Conference. And he made a whole book. And he came up with an acronym for one way to understand our life as Shin Buddhists. And it's called the AAA life. The AAA life: awareness, authenticity, and appreciation. So, right? Kansha, appreciation, right? So his idea for us to help us understand how we may live our lives as Shin Buddhists, right, is this AAA life. It's great, right? When your car breaks down, call AAA, right? When things are going bad, remember AAA. Okay, awareness. So I want to try to be aware of Buddha's teachings, aware of my thoughts, aware of how I'm feeling, aware of how I'm impacting others. Authenticity, that's a whole nother conference. It's too hard to do today, but I've been calling it be yourself. But then appreciation, which I think we can understand as gratitude. Okay? And yet, I thought of something. Appreciation doesn't just have one meaning. So here I go again. This is my intellectual kind of academic way of thinking about things. Keep searching, keep looking things up. Don't just take the first answer you're given. I think this is a good way to be Buddhist too, right? If you just take the first answer given, what if they're wrong? What if they're trying to trick you, right? So you never just take the first answer. Keep digging, keep thinking, right? And so appreciation. I think normally we would think, yeah, appreciation, it's like gratitude, right? Wow, I really appreciate what you did for me. I really appreciate that you put so much effort into getting this present. This present's perfect. You really know me. I got to really appreciate that. But there's another meaning for appreciation. Shinseki sensei said, I'm also a musician. I love music. It's one of the, if not the most important thing in my life in many ways. And it goes way back. And part of it comes from my parents, because both my parents loved music and played music a lot and encouraged me to listen to music and even to play piano and later guitar and bass, right? But one of my favorite classes in elementary school was music appreciation class, right? Music appreciation. And I think part of that might have this kind of gratitude aspect, but there it's actually kind of like understanding. To really appreciate music, it helps to understand music. So I remember in this class, the teacher played a piece of music and said, how many instruments can you hear? And I never thought of that before, right? You listen to a piece of music and think, how many instruments can you hear? And I don't remember what piece of music it was. I seem to remember banjo for some reason. And so maybe there was like trombone and banjo and guitar and, all these different instruments. And I would normally just hear blah, 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 blah. Right, music, great. But then to really appreciate it, well, what am I hearing? Oh, cool. I think that's a banjo. I think that's right. So appreciation, I think, isn't only gratitude. Appreciation, I think, may also include understanding and awareness built into it. So I want to give you an example. One of the things I thought was really interesting about today's seminar is that the title is in Japanese. Natsukashi na. When I started as a minister, 10, 15 years ago, I used a lot of Japanese words, and I've gradually kind of phased a lot of them out, realizing I'm in America. Not everyone understands Japanese, right? So it feels kind of good to have kansha, right? This Japanese term as the title, but we also with an awareness that, we do have to explain, because if you use the word and don't know what it means, you don't know what you're saying. It's like getting a tattoo, right? And you don't know what it says. I want a kanji tattoo, right? And you get pork soup or something, and you thought it was something really cool, right? So you better understand, right? If you're going to get a tattoo, don't get it. Well, yeah, understand if you're going to. I'm not encouraging that. So here's the Japanese word I want to explain that I think helps us understand kansha and gratitude. Itadakimasu. I don't mean to make you hungry, right? Hopefully you had breakfast. But this word, itadakimasu, I grew up with it because my mom was Japanese from Japan. And even though I didn't start speaking Japanese, I couldn't speak Japanese as a kid. But I did learn a lot of aisatsu kind of words, greetings, ohayo gozaimasu, tadaima, okaeri nasai, oyasumi nasai. I learned the basics, right? For when you come in and leave, and when you're going to bed and when you wake up. And one of the words I learned, itadakimasu. I didn't know what it meant. I only knew that's what you say before you eat. Okay? And so that's just, I grew up with that. I've considered myself kind of lucky to have grown up with that, because I grew to understand it more later when I got into Buddhism. So one cute story I heard when I was at Buddhist Church of Lodi before, and I heard this cute story where this member was living home alone. So her granddaughter said, Grandma, when you say itadakimasu, who says dozo? Right? Because that's part of itadakimasu. Usually the family says itadakimasu, and then mom, who's cooking away in our old school gender roles, right, would say dozo. Right? So it sounds like itadakimasu, we're ready to eat. Dozo, go ahead and eat. Right? That's what you think itadakimasu means. It means let's eat. Time to eat. That ain't what it means. And I was so fortunate as a student at Institute of Buddhist Studies. One semester, at the end of the semester, I took chanting class with Reverend Haruyoshi Kusada, which I know many of my fellow ministers also did. And one day, at the end of the semester, he took us to lunch. He drove us to downtown Berkeley and took us out to lunch. And so during lunch, we said itadakimasu at the beginning. And then one of the students said, Sensei, I took Japanese class. This person wasn't Japanese, grew up in the States, said, I took a Japanese class and the teacher said, Itadakimasu doesn't mean anything. It's just what people say before they eat. And Kusada Sensei, I kind of imagine him looking kind of horrified. And Kusada Sensei says, no, no, no. When we say Itadakimasu, we're expressing gratitude to the universe. So I'm sitting here like, whoa, really? The other guy says, no, that's not what the teacher said. The teacher said it doesn't mean anything. Japanese people don't mean anything when they say it. It's just what they say before they eat. Sensei says, no, no, no. It's gratitude to the entire universe. This food I'm going to eat, someone made it, right? The ingredients had to be delivered and purchased and prepared. Living beings gave their lives. Right? I'm thinking, so my favorite food I'm thinking right now is hamburger, maybe, right? A cow had to give their life for the meat. Right? The meat had to be delivered from the slaughterhouse to the packaging plant, to the supermarket, to the restaurant. Right? Someone had to put it together, put in all these ingredients. But even before that, it doesn't stop at the cow. Right? The cow ate grass and food. The grass grew out of the earth. The earth was nourished by the rain, like today, and the sun. So when I'm eating my hamburger, I have to thank the entire universe for this. Right? So much more. It's not just like I paid $5 for my burger, so I'm going to do what I want with it. If I'm not, if I can't eat it or if I don't like it, I'm going to just throw it away. Express gratitude to realize, right? To have kind of an insight into how much went into this meal. So itadakimasu literally is, I receive this meal. But it's not morao. It's not like, oh yeah, thanks, I'm receiving it from the server, right? And I'm going to give him money later in an exchange, even exchange. No, I'm receiving from the whole universe. So I hold it up above my head. I do that literally, not literally, figuratively with language by saying itadaku, this humble form of receiving. So itadakimasu is this humbly receiving this meal, expressing gratitude to the whole universe, all the causes and conditions far beyond my understanding that went into this meal that nourishes me now. I love the word itadakimasu, but it's not English, right? And so how do we, I wish there was a word we had in English that we could just say to express this, and maybe that's something we can think about, right? When I do the words before the meal at church, I would say, let us be mindful of and grateful for all the causes and conditions that make this meal possible. Namo Amida Butsu, Itadakimasu, right? But that's too long. So, I don't know, right? But even if you say it in Japanese, you don't necessarily mean it. You're not necessarily thinking about all this, right? And yet, and another aspect of it is, it's funny when you see people eat and they're like, oh, I forgot to say itadakimasu. Oh, well, too late. Right? I wonder, I'm kind of thinking, if you forget, in a way, it's a good thing because you ended up remembering. Wow. Our bishop, Reverend Harada, right, said that during the pandemic, part of realizing that the good thing about the pandemic is realizing how much I took for granted. How much I took for granted. So when I start eating and forget to reflect on the causes and conditions that went behind it, on this incredible benevolence coming from all of this coming to me for this meal, ideally, I'd be totally aware, right? Ideally, I'd be totally grateful in every single second of my life. The reality is, for me, I'm not. And I do say not itadakimasu sometimes, but I can tell it's lip service when I do it. Right? To realize, wow, I'm saying itadakimasu, but I don't mean it. Or, oh, I forgot to say it. It's okay. It's a good thing to realize that. Because realize, yeah, I do take things for granted. What else do I take for granted? Now, the next level, right? I'm kind of close up with the next level. We've gone from just simple thank you. You gave me a gift, right? So I can respond with gratitude. Thank you. Thank you for this gift. Right? And then we actually went kind of cosmic, with Itadakimasu, right? This expression of gratitude to the whole universe for food that I thought I was just getting in exchange for my money, right? No, right? To realize, wow, so much is coming to me. And I can express that, right, with this Itadakimasu. And yet, I may take it for granted too. Third level, I think truly when we talk about gratitude in Jodo Shinshu, it's kind of a specific kind of gratitude. It's gratitude to Amida Buddha. Why? Because this wisdom and compassion, the true nature of reality, which is all-knowing, right? Impermanence, emptiness, interconnectedness, totally awake to all those things, but also compassionate, accepts me as I am. Accepts me even though I take things for granted. Maybe because I take things for granted, I'm embraced by the wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha. And so at that time, when I realized, I forgot to say Itadakimasu. I take so much for granted. Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda. Thank you, Buddha, for accepting me as I am, foolish, taking things for granted, not grateful, even though I have so much to be grateful for. And so there's different words besides Kansha. That sha in Kansha can be heard in Ondoksan that we're going to hear later. Sha subeshi. Right? We must try and express or repay the benevolence of the Buddha. There's another term, ho'on, that you might know from Ho'on-ko, right? One of our main services, Shinran Shonin's memorial service. So Kakunyo is using ho'on there to repay our benevolence to Shinran Shonin. But actually I found it's in Dao Cho. It's in one of the Chinese masters from like way before Shinran, 1500 years ago, right? And this wanting to repay the benevolence of the Buddha, right? Realizing, whoa, I've been embraced by wisdom and compassion. Even though I'm not meditating, I'm not keeping precepts, I'm not a particularly good person, and yet Amida Buddha accepts me as I am. Realizing this, wanting to, or just responding, responding to this compassion, right? This wisdom and compassion that embraces me. How do we express that? Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. I take refuge in Amida Buddha. Right? That when I feel, when I feel this, right? Usually, unfortunately, Itadakimasu, Namo Amida Butsu, a lot of times it gets kind of centered at the temple, right? And the Sangha says it after me as the minister, right? So I say Itadakimasu, and everyone else goes Itadakimasu, right? Or I say Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, right? And it's kind of like call and response. But true Nembutsu comes out spontaneously, right? True Nembutsu is this expression, just this spontaneous expression of gratitude to the Buddha. Right? It is our practice as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, but there's a technical term, Shinjin Shoin, Shomyo Ho'on, right? Where it's not my Nembutsu that gets me to the Pure Land. It's not me if I saying it well enough or doing a good enough job or doing it right. No, it's entrusting in the Buddha. This Buddha who made the vow to grasp foolish beings such as myself. Right? And that is what gives birth in the Pure Land. And then this term shomyo means to say the name, to say Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, saying that. Shomyo ho-om. Remember, like ho-on ko. Trying to respond to this benevolence by reciting the name. I think we do ho-on in many different ways, actually. So how do we express gratitude? What is it? I think ultimately it becomes, that's how I live my life. right? A life responding to this benevolence, a life embraced by the wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha. So one way we can say thank you, right? We can express our gratitude. Another aspect, live your life, right? Just live your life, but with reflection. Right? And if you realize, maybe I am taking this for granted, whatever it is, the food I'm eating, or the education I've received, or whatever, right? Realizing, whoa, I'm taking this for granted. Namo Amida Butsu, right? Realizing, wow, even one such as myself who isn't grateful a lot of the time, right? Embraced by the wisdom and compassion. So maybe, this song Ondoksan that we are going to hear later towards the end of the service is actually a poem or a hymn written by Shinran Shonin. And let me read it to you. Maybe we can conclude my talk. I'm a little bit early, but I think it's okay. We want to have, we got to get people into rooms and stuff like that, breakout rooms. And so I'd like to, maybe let me read the poem first. Such is the benevolence of Amida's great compassion that we must strive to return it, even to the breaking of our bodies. Such is the benevolence of the masters and the true teachers that we must endeavor to repay it, even to our bones becoming dust. The Japanese, I'll do the Japanese, the Ondoksan 1, which is my personal favorite. You can find, there's a video of me at a different conference called Ondoksan Rocks. I think it's the coolest version, personally. I know some people don't like Ondoksan 1. They're like, it's too sad. And it's like, no, this is cool, right? It's Nyorai dai no ondoku wa miyoko ni shite mo hozu beshi. Shishu chishiki no ondoku mo hone o kudakite mo shasu beshi. Isn't that cool? It's the coolest song. It's like such a cool melody. It's got that Japanese tonality, the kind of minor tonality, which but maybe also influenced by European classical music. I don't know. But sha su beshi, that's the kansha no sha. Right? It's just this really evocative song. Such is the benevolence of Amida's great compassion that we must strive to return it, even to the breaking of our bodies. Such is the benevolence of the masters and the true teachers that we must endeavor to repay it, even to our bones becoming dust. I wore my Shinran Shonin Wagesa just because I'm really coming to a deeper appreciation of Shinran Shonin as the years go by. I just turned 51 this past month, and this month actually October, and always trying to learn, and not due to my own efforts, but usually due to the efforts of others. And so blessed, and we don't usually use that word, but I feel really blessed to have encountered the Dharma, right? To have been able to encounter this teaching, to have been able to see more deeply into myself and my relationships, to be able to have this community, this incredible community. Some of my teachers on here, like Shinseki Sensei when I was a student, and others, my colleagues, other ministers, but everyone, Sangha, right? Everyone, trying to learn from everyone. And that's, maybe we took that for granted when we could come to church anytime we wanted. So maybe when we go back to church, realize, wow, this is precious opportunity to be together with fellow travelers on the way. What a precious opportunity to reflect on the Dharma, to reflect on my life, and realize maybe how much I take it for granted. Realize how gratitude is such an important part of our lives as Shin Buddhists. Realizing how important Nembutsu is to my life. So I said I was going to stop like 5-10 minutes ago, and I've managed to keep going for a little longer. But let's conclude. Please join me in Gassho, and I'd like to read Ondoksan one more time. Such is the benevolence of Amida's great compassion that we must strive to return it even to the breaking of our bodies. Such is the benevolence of the masters and true teachers that we must endeavor to repay it even to our bones becoming dust. Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Namanda, namanda, nam. Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei. Ken Tanimoto, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Reverend Bridge, for your very, very enlightening presentation. You know, hearing from you is so great because you have such a different twist things that makes us understand whether regardless or not the causes and conditions that happens. I received so much. I have all these notes I took from your presentation because I really appreciate. So, thank you. Arigato. Now, I guess we're going to go to the closing remarks from John Arima, right, John? So you do some the closing message, and after that, we'll have announcements by Bill Wurtenberg, and then go into the workshops.
Thank you, Ken. It was presented to me that this would be a closing reading, and so I selected an article written by Lady Takeko Kujo in recognition or acknowledgement of our Coast District BWL, who's holding their conference in conjunction with our family conference today, and to reflect on Kansho. So please join me in Gassho to reflect upon our appreciation and gratitude for being cradled in Amida's compassion. The article is titled, "The Heart of a Child." When a baby suckles, cradled at its mother's bosom, it is not even the least bit of fear. Everything is taken care of. The grandeur and grace of motherly love fills the child's world. We can only bow in reverence. Although we too are being cradled. In ignorance, we rebel against the greater hands supporting our lives. Although we too are being cradled, most of us still have troubles and worries. When we live in the glorious light of compassion and realize how very small we are, we can live at peace with ourselves, like a child with an innocent heart. When we put our lives in the hands of great compassion, it is due to our earnest wish to be nurtured by infinite life. The beautiful world of faith exists where the mind of doubt is discarded. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda 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 Namanda. And I would also like to echo Ken's words and express my deep appreciation for Reverend Bridges' keynote Dharma message today. It was very good. As always, your talks are. With that, we will transition to Bill Wurtenberg to close this morning's service.
Yeah, I would also like to echo the thoughts on Reverend Bridge. I mean, it was just absolutely wonderful Dharma talk this morning, and I really appreciate it. This concludes our service, and we are going to be going into the breakout rooms. So we're going to have about a 10-minute bio break here to take care of business and to transition into the rooms. By my understanding, if you look at your name, and I hope you haven't changed it, you'll see a number in front of it, 1, 2, 3, or whatever number you have, and you will be automatically transferred into that breakout room, and then at the end you'll be transferred back into the conference. I just want to make sure, John, did I say that right? Is that the way it'll happen?
Yeah, everyone will be pushed into the breakout room by their pre-registered number, and if there are any issues, you'll be in the main room and we will take care of you. and for Reverend Bridge and Bishop Parada, we can actually, our host can actually give you the option to pop in and out of different rooms if you'd like. So that will be, we'll keep you in the main room to kind of coordinate that with our host. Thank you.
So let's take about, it won't be 10 minutes, but it'll be about 12:05 in that area there that we'll be picking back up. As everybody's in the breakout room hosts or the people that be doing the talking can start their breakout. So you will have 1 hour in the breakout room. Enjoy. All I ask is Reverend Bridge does not come in my breakout room because he was my sensei, and I don't want to see how badly I failed him after him teaching me first semester. But Reverend Bridge, you're more than welcome. So 10-minute break. Let's get in our breakout rooms, and then we will come back for our closing service. Thank you.